Hi everyone, today we will be discussing on the negative externality, air pollution from vehicles in Malaysia. I'm Zixin and these are my teammates.
I'm Wenyi.
I'm Sinman.
I'm Yiqing. I'm Xinyi.
I will be presenting the introduction and together we will walk you through the issues and solutions. Air pollution from motor vehicles emission is one of the most chronic environmental issues in Malaysia, particularly in heavy urban areas such as Kuala Lumpur and Penang. According to the STAR in 2023, over 900 compound notices were issued in just 3 months period for vehicles emitting smokes that exceeded the legal limit. This highlights just how widespread excessive emissions still are in Malaysia. In our presentation, we will explain the economic theory behind externalities, review relevant policies, and provide recommendations to reduce vehicle-related air pollution in Malaysia. Next. Economically, this is an example of a negative externality where drivers do not bear the full social cost of the pollution they cause. Study by Shafi and Mahmood as well as Ansari et al. Show that vehicles are major contributors to urban air pollution in Malaysia. And with the rising traffic density, the problem is expected to be worsened. Since the marginal social cost of driving exceeds the marginal private cost, the market produces more pollution than is socially optimal. These market failures underscores the urgent need for government intervention.
Thank you, Zixin. Now we move on to the economic theory behind this externality. So basically, externalities occur when a third party faces costs or benefits from someone else's actions. And in Malaysia, vehicle emissions create a negative externality because drivers generate air pollution that affects the wider society. And from a table, we can see that drivers only consider their own private costs such as fuel, tax, and maintenance, while enjoying the private benefits like convenience and time saving. Meanwhile, society bears the external costs such as air pollution, health issues, and environmental degradation. And when we add these external costs to private costs, we can get the marginal social cost, which is higher than what drivers actually perceive. To see how this translates into market outcomes, let's refer to the next slide. Alright, so from this graph, it shows how this negative externality results in market inefficiency. The blue curve represents the marginal private benefits, while the red curve represents the marginal social benefits. Since the social benefits is lower than the private benefits, the MSB curve lies below the MPB curve. And at the same time, the marginal social cost is assumed to equal the marginal private cost, meaning consumers ignore the additional external harm they create, and as a result, the market equilibrium occurs at Q1, where private cost equals private benefits, which is higher than the socially optimal level at Q2. And this overconsumption leads to a deadweight loss as shown by the shaded triangle, representing the loss of social welfare. Ultimately, while drivers gain private benefits, society, including the government, will have to bear the external cost of healthcare, pollution management, as well as the environmental damage. And that's all from me. Wenyi will continue with the following slides. Thank you.
For our chosen policy in Malaysia, we look at the Malaysia EV subsidies. The government provides a lower cost of EV by giving full exemptions on import, excise duty, and sales tax for EV. This includes road tax exemptions and income tax relief for installation of EV charging stations. By narrowing the price gap between EV and petrol cars, the policy makes cleaner vehicle more affordable and encourages households to shift. This policy is highly feasible as the government can afford targeted subsidies and no major changes to the existing automotive regulation is required since the current automotive regulations already support duty and excise exemptions. This incentive shows positive results. When the price of an EV falls, the demand increases. EV could also reduce harmful pollutants such as PM2.5 and nitrogen dioxide. This shows that EV could greatly reduce the air pollutions. However, EV are still expensive even with tax exemptions. Hence, adoption may be slower in average households. Now, there are two key concerns in the potential unintended effect. Firstly, benefits tend to be regressive, meaning that higher income households gain more than the lower income households as they are the ones who can afford EV. Secondly, is pollution shifting. EV may shift pollution to another area such as water pollution, soil damage, and poor labor conditions due to the extraction of mineral for battery production. Now I'll pass it to Simman to explain the international policy.
Thanks, Wenyi. Now, I'll be presenting an international policy approach, which is the London congestion charge. Under this system, drivers must pay a daily fee to enter the designated zone in central London during peak hours. The policy works well as the city has a highly extensive and readily available public transport system. The policy has also been effective as it was proven to reduce per mile driving. Additionally, Transport for London reported reductions in nitrogen oxide emissions as well as particulate matter after the policy was implemented. In terms of strength, the policy directly internalizes externalities and reduces traffic volumes and pollutants within the area. However, the benefits are geographically concentrated due to displacement. Additionally, there are potential unintended effects. While air quality improves in central London, some traffic and pollution are displaced to areas outside the charging zone. As a result, this improvement may be partially offset by worsened air quality in surrounding neighborhoods. Now, we'll move on to the conclusion section.
Throughout this project, our group gained a deeper understanding of how economic theory, policy analysis, and real-world observations work together to address the issue of vehicle-related air pollution in Malaysia. By examining the gap between marginal private benefit and marginal social benefit, we saw how overconsumption of vehicle leads to external costs like health impacts, environmental degradations, and welfare loss. While researching, we faced challenges such as interpreting complex policy documents and synthesizing diverse sources. But through our collaborations and task sharing, we were able to refine our analysis and present a clearer argument. In conclusion, we found that vehicle emissions in Malaysia remain as a significant negative externality due to large gap between private and social costs. Although current policies like fuel standards and public transport investment are step in right direction, but they are not enough. Drawing from international experiences, we would like to recommend that Malaysia implement carbon pricing or corrective fuel taxes alongside subsidy, reforms, and targeted support for low-income households. Combined with investment in cleaner transport alternatives, these measures will be key in improving urban air quality in the long run. That's all from us. Thank you.